that the topic today is the extraordinary economic development in the People's Republic of China. This is a unique phenomenon in history. The People's Republic of China, ever since 2008, is the second economic world power, only superseded by the USA, major world exporter, second exporter of goods. Average annual rate of increase in GDP over the last 30 years, more than 10%. GDP in 2011 amounted to $7 billion US dollars. At this pace of growth, China could have an economy that would be much more powerful than the US economy in the coming years. Even in 2013, it is the second country in carbon dioxide emissions, and they have to feed their population with only 7% of its area, I mean arable land, and decreasing at the rate of 1 million hectares per year, because there is a policy of the government to transfer 400 million people towards the city in the next 25 years, the first country as regards foreign currency reserves. What about the economy in China, socialist market economy in the People's Republic of China as well as in Vietnam? The main feature of this economic organization is that basic industry, regulated sectors such as telecommunications or the banking sectors are mainly owned by the state, but they compete among one another in a price system established by the market. The central government does not interfere in order to establish prices or favoring companies. Economy is based on adding cheap labor, investing in basic capital goods, mainly in infrastructure, and utilization of natural resources. These are growth drivers such as trade openness, exports through tax reliefs and subsidies, permissibility towards foreign investment, and inflow of great foreign capital, heavy capital investment in transportation and mixed market economy, price formation, capital market, and private ownership, but not of everything. There is no private ownership of land, for instance. There is no private ownership of land in China. Mixed public-private companies, and there's a high rate of savings based on the fact that there is a sort of social protection network for laborers and workers. It is very difficult to put it in place, even though they have social security and welfare facilities managed by trade unions. The banking system in China up until 1979, they have the People of China Bank, and of course now they are following banking regulations. And the main banking corpus of the Chinese system is made out of three types of banks. State-owned banks, four big public banks, specialized in granting credits to different areas. Bank of China, Bank of Construction of China, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, the biggest one in China, and Agricultural Bank of China. Then we have commercial banks, 6 state-owned banks, and 1 is private. The China Minsheng Bank. There are also foreign banks. The activity of foreign banking operating in trading in yuan is very limited indeed, especially for the granting big loans. In order for us to understand the Chinese economic system, we have to understand the political division of the country. It is very complex indeed. It is divided into provinces, municipalities, and counties. Municipalities are different. They are divided into districts such as Beijing, Chongqing, Shanghai, and Taiping that report directly to the central government. Then they have autonomous regions such as Mongolia, Tibet, and many others. These autonomous regions are autonomous because these are different ethnicity, but the Han minority in those autonomous regions maintains majority in local government, special administrative regions such as Hong Kong and Macau, and it has provinces and autonomous regions divided into prefectures, counties, autonomous counties, and cities. Now, the county is the basic unit in the administrative division of China, and they are given more autonomous. There are city counties and district counties. Local revenues largely derive from local taxation, and it is counties that have 4/5 of the whole government spending, and this accounts for local spending. These revenue derives from local taxation and shared taxation, and they are supervised by the Provincial Department of Finance in each province and or county or autonomous region. And they also receive part of the consolidated budget from the central government of China. But one of the main distinguishing features of the Chinese system that I'm going to delve into right now is the so-called land regime or system. There are two basic laws. The first one, Land Administration Law, 1986, and Real Property Law, People's Republic of China, enacted in 2007. Land Administration Law of the People's Republic of China says in Article 1 that the law was geared to reinforcing administration of land, maintaining the public ownership, socialist ownership of land, to protect and develop the resources of land, to make appropriate use of land, protect arable land, and cover the needs of socialist modernization. Article 2. The People's Republic of China will practice socialist public ownership of land, that is to say, ownership by the whole people and collective ownership by the working population. Then we'll see what this system means. An interesting comment here concerning this law or act of Parliament: the right to use the land by the state or by communities may legally transfer. The methods for transferring ownership, I mean the right to use land, will be additionally stipulated by the Council of State. The state practices a system of payment for the use of land owned by the state, and the methods for paying will be prescribed by the Council of State. Let's go deep into this topic. Article or Section 6. Urban land of cities will be owned by the people at large, that is to say, owned by the state. Land in rural areas and suburban areas will be owned by collective organizations, except for those portions that belong to the state according to law. I mean plots of lands for houses or cultivation, mountainous area will be owned by collective organizations. So there is no individual private property of land in China. What do we mean by collective organizations? Collective organizations are the group of populations in a given district or county. So land in China either belongs to the state or to these collective organizations that, of course, depend on and report to the Chinese state. And Article 7 says land owned by the state may be used, legally speaking, by units of property by the whole people of the state or by units that are then used by these collective organizations. So land owned by the state and or by collective organizations may be legally determined to be used by individuals. This is a distinguishing feature of the Chinese system, which is very familiar or similar to the Anglo-Saxons, but we're not familiar with it, of a Latin stock. We are dividing ownership of land from the use of land. In China, ownership of land it remains in the hands of the state. Use of land may be transferred to individuals.
The use of land may be transferred, and we'll see how this takes place in the Chinese system. A State Council decree enacted on February 1st, 1991, it again provides the following. This land will be the property of the people, that is of the state. Urban land in cities. 2. Land in rural and suburban areas that is seized, requisitioned, expropriated, acquired by purchase or nationalization pursuant to law. Marshlands, woodlands, beaches, floodable areas, and other types of land which the state has not provided is the ownership of group organizations. We have it clear. It's either the property of the state or of group organizations. General planning for the use of land will be prepared by the State Land Administration, that is, officials whom I interviewed in China and who told me quite interesting things. For example, that they had based their system, that is their land ownership system, on what always existed in the Hong Kong British colony, where land would not be sold. Yet another important resolution enacted by the State Council in May 1991 provides that, in accordance to the principle of separation of property from the right to use, the state takes on the system of granting and transferring the right to use land owned by the state in cities and towns, excluding subsoil resources, buried objects, and municipal facilities. Article 3 provides that all corporations, companies, other organizations, and individuals operating within or without the territory of the People's Republic of China may be given the right to use the land, to develop it, use it, and operate the land as per these regulations. That is, what has been done here in Argentina a short while ago, that is forbidding foreigners from buying land, is something that is not done in China. And it is not done because land is not sold, so there is no clear motive to enforce such ban. The right to use the land may, throughout the term thereof, be transferred, leased, mortgaged, or used for the performance of economic activities. The legitimate right and interests of those using the land shall be protected by law. The granting of rights to use refers to the act whereby the state, in its capacity as owner, grants those using the land the right to use it for a certain period of time, and users shall therefore pay the state the rights for such granting, which granting is established by contract. Everything indicates the State Council regulation will be done in a planned fashion and gradually, and contracts shall be executed by the land administration departments in cities and counties. These concessions by the state, which are well known in the Anglo-Saxon law, namely the leases, that is long-term agreements. In the case of this regulation, Article 12 provides for the maximum duration or term of these leases, which shall be as follows. First, 70 years for residential use, 50 years for industrial use, 50 years for educational, scientific, and technological, cultural, health, and sports uses, 40 years for commercial, travel, and recreational activities, and 40 years for general or other purposes. The rights of use, these are maximum terms. It doesn't mean that the leases have to be granted for these periods, but these are the maximum periods for which leases can be granted. Article 13 says that rights to use may be granted under the following forms: by agreement, that is by contract, through a bid put forward by the interested parties, or through auction. And the state grants or issues a certificate for the use of land. However, if land has not been used and developed as per the contract terms and the duration, it may not be transferred. That is, the right to use which is being granted may not be transferred unless it has been exercised in accordance with contractual terms. When the right